Well, hello, IDS 105 students, and welcome to week 6 here in your IDS 105 course. Today, we're going to take a couple of minutes and check in, see how things are going. We're going to talk about your assignments this week for Module 6, and we're also going to talk a little bit about making sure you are prepared and know what to do for that Module 7 final project submission and resources to use for your success. As always, your experience here at Southern New Hampshire University is important to us. It is our policy and practice to create an inclusive and accessible learning environment. If there are any aspects of instruction or course design that present any barriers to accessibility, please notify the Online Accessibility Center, the OAC, as soon as possible at 866-305-9430. You can also email them at oac@snhu.edu or visit the Online Accessibility Center website. Couple of webinar reminders. As always, these learning community webinars are considered an academic space. The same applies to your classroom spaces, SNHU Connect, any SNHU university affiliated event, and even to your university email and those first year experience YouTube pages. Remember, there's always a human reading those comments and those emails. These learning community webinars are not graded. They are also not required, but hopefully they are helping you learn about how to do assignments from week to week and or helping you understand the concepts that you are working on in your course. So, y'all, we only have a couple of weeks left in our IDS 105 class. So I wanted to pause just for a minute and just kind of check in with y'all about a couple of things. One, this is a great time of the term to check your grade book, make sure you know what your overall grade is, but also your grades on your assignments. Take a look, make sure you're not missing any assignments. Remember, for those graded warm-up assignments, you can take those as many times as you need to earn your best score. So if you took that and didn't do so hot, go back and take it again and see if you can add some more points. You can keep doing that. It's unlimited attempts. Remember, it's open book. Go back and try to earn their most points, okay? If you are stuck, if you have questions on things, are you reaching out and connecting with your resources? Like, are you reaching out to your instructor if you're stuck on the assignment or don't understand their graded feedback? Or maybe even checking in with your advisor if you have questions about different resources or just kind of need that like accountability buddy to make sure that you're on track with your assignments from week to week. Just remember, you're a college student. Your degree is worth this, and so are you. So reach out, make those connections, double check your grade. And if you get stuck or need anything, make sure you connect with your SNHU resources, okay? As a reminder, this is not a comprehensive list. And if you look underneath the help area of your Brightspace classroom and you click on online student services, it'll pull up the pages to the page with an overview of all of these departments, okay? So just a reminder, we always have that 24/7 drop-in tutoring for a variety of subjects, no matter what your classes are. You can always look to find help and support there. If you're looking for IDS 105 support, you want to look underneath the social services section to be connected with a tutor. Written feedback is super helpful, especially for any writing assignments, because you can upload those drafted writing assignments, be specific with what you want the tutor to focus on, and they can give you feedback within 12 hours, which is really pretty awesome, okay? Plus, don't forget if you're citing your works, there's awesome workshops that academic support holds, but also the Shapiro Library has wonderful citation resources and examples for you and your success. Okay, plus outside the classroom, don't forget about who is supporting you in your success or maybe motivating you from assignment to assignment, from class to class. Okay, so you have a lot of support, so make sure you lean on them and reach out if you need anything for your success. Okay, so week 6, module 6 assignments, y'all. You have a journal assignment. As always, when you have a journal assignment, it is due by Sunday. You also have a discussion assignment. So remember, with those discussion assignments, discussion points matter. So make sure you have that initial discussion post submitted by Thursday and then respond to at least 2 of your classmates by Sunday. Remember, y'all, with those peer responses, those classmate responses, just writing a couple of sentences is not going to cut it. You'll lose points. Make sure you're giving substantial feedback, okay? Couple of just general assignment reminders. When you have those journal assignments, you want to make sure you have that Microsoft Word or something compatible. You do get Office 365 for free. If you don't yet have that downloaded, you can find that underneath the online student services area, underneath that help area in your Brightspace classroom, okay? For journal assignments, video note submissions are permitted for this week's assignment. However, it's not just as easy as you recording yourself and answering the questions and submitting it. There is a set of requirements that you need to follow. So if you have questions about that, you can find that underneath the Start Here area of the class, okay? So just to recap, you got a discussion assignment, initial discussion post due by Thursday, and then you have a journal assignment and those tiers 2 peer responses due by Sunday or before as convenient for your schedule. Okay. So this week's discussion assignment, you're going to be answering 2 questions. One, think about a time when you struggled to really listen or be heard in an online setting. What challenges did you face and how did or how could empathy make a difference? So think about that time, explain it, share the details to answer the question. Okay. Question 2, what unique approaches or habits do you use or imagine using to foster empathetic listening in virtual spaces, especially when cultural differences are involved? So take what you've learned from this course or what ideas you might have, give examples, be detailed, and answer those 2 questions. Again, initial post due Thursday, respond to at least 2 of your classmates by Sunday or before. Okay, this week's journal assignment, again, as a reminder with the journal assignments, you're just opening up a document, a Microsoft Word document or something compatible, and you're typing your answers to these questions. You can copy and paste the questions and write underneath them. You can write it in an essay style. Also, as a reminder, video note submissions are an option, but make sure you understand the requirements fully for that, okay? Again, the journal assignment is centered all about the topic of feedback. So specifically what you are addressing is 1, perceptions. So you want to describe your perceptions regarding receiving feedback with specific examples. So things to consider, how does receiving feedback make you feel? What steps could you take to respond more effectively in the future? Part 2, past feedback. Think about a time when you got past feedback, okay? Describe how you can use past feedback to inform how you give and receive feedback now. Again, use those specific examples. So things to think about, like think about what you've learned from those past feedback experiences, maybe how you felt, what you wish would have been done differently, and how you could apply those lessons to future situations. Part 3 is diversity awareness. For this section, you want to describe the impact that diversity awareness has on giving and receiving feedback when you're communicating and collaborating with others. Again, use specific examples. So things to think about. How is being aware of different backgrounds, perspectives, or even communication styles, how can that help you shape the way your feedback is shared and received? And then part 4 is strategies. So describe how you can use strategies for interacting with diverse groups of people as you give and receive feedback with specific examples. So think about communication strategies or styles. Think about things that we've learned so far in our course, or maybe just general knowledge and experience that you have when you're considering cultural awareness. What can you utilize to make sure that everybody feels included, okay? And that communication and feedback is respectful, clear, and effective. All right, share your thoughts, be detailed, use examples. If you're stuck or have questions on this is a great assignment to use that academic support written feedback service for, or make sure you connect with your course instructor, okay? Just as a reminder with those journal assignments, I just wanted to remind you that underneath that what to submit section, where the assignment is outlined, you can find out all the information of what is required for the assignment. If you cite any sources, you want to make sure you're doing that according to APA style. And again, the Shapiro Library and the academic support team have wonderful resources for you to have citation success. Okay, so that is week 6. What I want to do is just take a minute and kind of look ahead to week 7, module 7. Okay, so as a reminder, coming up in module 7, you have your final project. That project is due. I wanted to just point out it's worth a significant chunk of your grade, 250 points out of 1,000 to be specific. So it is so important. And honestly, y'all have already done this. Your final project has already been put together because you have worked on it through the term. Now your job is to clean it up, make any edits that might be necessary. And if you're reaching for that exemplary category, add in some more details, add in some more examples, and just make it your best work, right? So I just wanted to remind you with that project, like you've already done the work. So you are absolutely not creating a new document, okay? So you have been using the same template all term, right? So back in module 2, week 2, we picked a scenario or you created your own scenario and you answered part 1, right? And then another week you had part 2, and then you had part 3, and then you had part 4, right? So at this point in module 7, week 7, your project is already put together. So it's about that 3 to 5 pages when complete. And if you didn't use the template, or you broke up the template, or you did something creative, the biggest thing you need to understand with turning in this final project submission is all of the pieces and parts need to be in one cohesive document, okay? So take a look, Go into your grade center, go back to those project draft assignments, review what your faculty member, your instructor said about your work. If they asked for more details or examples or gave you some ideas for edits or additions, you want to make sure you make those. I'll tell you, when I grade these, I pull up previous drafts and compare it to the final project turned in. Most faculty do that, okay? So if there's changes or edits you need to make, they're going to be looking for them. There is that exemplary category if you want to go after your best grade and the most amount of points that you can get. Maybe you did great on the assignment, but if you add a little bit more detail or examples, maybe you're able to get extra points. So talk to your instructor if you have questions about that, okay? Again, you're not starting over, you're not doing anything new. You've already done the work. Now it's time to edit, refine, and add as necessary, okay? So keep that same template. Again, if you separated the template into different pages or you had a different kind of document, just make sure that all of the parts are combined into one final submission. Don't forget to review and incorporate any faculty feedback you received, and don't forget to use your resources, okay? Which reminds me about that, academic support is a big resource for you to utilize for this final project. Remember, you can find them in so many ways. At the top of your Brightspace classroom, you can find them. You can also find them on your My SNU page under academics and click on support. And then you can also find them in every single module within Brightspace on that left-hand side, okay? Every classroom you can find them. So easy. But what I want to point out is when you click into their menu of services, you're going to see things like this. The ARC is that digital database where you can find all kinds of resources and information. We have the 24/7 drop-in tutoring, written feedback, plus there's a lot of workshops and academic coaching options that are just here for your success, okay? I want to go into the classroom space here just real quick because I want to show you guys a couple of things, all right? One, I wanted to show you when you click on academic support and it pulls up their menu of services, this is what you're going to see. So if you have not yet explored workshops, you would click on attend a workshop. If you have not yet used written feedback, this is where you click on submit a draft and you upload and submit the assignment you want the tutor to focus on. There's a little questionnaire that pops up that asks you specific questions like what you want the tutor to look at or focus in on. Don't just submit a paper and walk away because you need to give them specific feedback so it's specific to what you're looking for. Once you submit that, you get 12 hours and they'll have something back to you. Okay. There's also the awesome 24/7 drop-in tutoring for a variety of subjects. So I just wanted to make sure that I pointed this out for y'all. And then up here at the top too, you can always see the workshops and resources. So I wanted to make sure I showed you that. Also, I wanted to make sure you saw too for week 6, don't forget to review your introduction and your guide as always. And then of course you see your discussion assignment and that journal assignment. When you get to module 7, that is for the upcoming week, right? So we're currently in week 6, but when you get to module 7, there's a couple of things I wanted to point out. One, I wanted to point out that you were going to notice that there is a non-graded discussion opportunity. This is not a place where you would post your final project, any pieces or parts of it, okay? This is just a space that's provided here for you to share tips maybe about how you're writing or putting things together, what has kept you motivated throughout the term. You do not have to respond or do anything this week with the week 7 discussion. If you want to, you totally can, but just know that it's there in case you have some relevant feedback or questions, okay? When you get to your project, as always, you're going to click on those guidelines and rubric, and it's going to bring up an overview of the entire project, right? Again, you picked your scenario way back in week 2, or you created your own, and you use that scenario to answer all these different parts of your project. We have already at this point done part 1, part 2, part 3, and part 4. So now your job is to take what you have already done and you want to take a minute and you want to go back to your graded feedback in the grade center, double check those project drafts. Was there any recommended changes, edits, details, examples you needed? If you did wonderful on them, but you want to get to that next category, because you're going to see there's this exceeds expectations or exemplary category on the rubric. If you met all the expectations and did awesome on your project drafts, it doesn't mean you're going to automatically hit exceeds expectations, okay? So if you have questions about this, get with your instructor to see if there's any more details or information that you could add, just really make your project stand out, okay? So I wanted to make sure that I showed you. I always tell students when you turn these projects in, before you turn it in, I always encourage students use the Academic Support Written Feedback Center, but also take a look at your project itself or any writing assignment and grade yourself using the rubric. see how you scored, because sometimes you might realize that you forgot something, or there's an area that you could add some more detail or expand upon it. So just take a minute to make sure that you look through that, okay? So I know I'm talking about Module 7 a whole week early, but I just wanted you to know like what is coming up, what you're going to be working with, and just remind you that you have such incredible resources by using the academic support team and that written feedback. Plus, again, underneath the library, if you have any citation questions, there's a wonderful citing your sources guide right here. Okay, so just to wrap up really quick, remember here for week 6, you have that discussion assignment and that journal assignment. Okay, when you get to module 7, you have a optional, so not graded discussion opportunity in module 7, but for week 6 it is graded, so make sure you get it done. And then that final project will be due that Sunday of week 7. Okay, so make sure you use the template, you're not starting over. Use your resources, connect with your instructor if you have any questions, because they're the one that has graded your work to this point. They will be the best point of contact for you if you have questions or need guidance on that final project. Okay, y'all, that's it. That's all we got for week 6. So remember, get that journal assignment and discussion done. Take a look ahead at what's coming at you in module 7. If you get stuck, reach out, ask questions, and remember, you got this. I'll see you in week 7. Y'all have a wonderful week 6.